How's it going, guys? Cody there. We're back again. We're dropping yet another video. Right, guys. This video, which you can see from the title, how to get away with drug testing in prison, right? And I'm going to read you why it was introduced, the different types of drug testing, and then I'm going to go into how to get away with drug tests. Right, so this is my MDT thing, right? So I don't know if you guys can see it there. Right. So, introduction. This booklet is designed to provide you with the information on the mandatory drug testing, or MDT program. From the time your sample is collected, the consequences of testing positive for drugs, the booklet supplied to you is to enable you to ensure that MDT correct procedures are followed and make you aware of what happens when you are selected for testing. What are the three objectives of MDT? To deter prisoners from misusing drugs through threat of being caught and punished, to supply better information on patterns and scale of drug misuse to improve the targeting of treatment services and to measure the effectiveness of the overall strategy, and to identify individuals in need of treatment. Types of mandatory drugs testing. There are 5 types of MDT which you may be required to provide a urine sample. First one, random testing, where a proportion of the prison population, 10%, is tested every month. Reasonable suspicion, where prison staff have reason to believe that you have misused drugs. Frequent testing program. You may be selected for the program if you have a previous or persistent history of drug misuse, or if you test positive for Class A drugs. Risk assessment. You are selected for this test because you'll be considered for a privilege, such as release on temporary license, or a job, such as an outside working party, where a high degree of trust is to be granted. Testing on reception. You may be selected for testing on first reception. The prison service tests for 7 days, and it tests for cannabis, opiates, methadone, cocaine, amphetamines, including ecstasy, benzodiazepine, tranquilizers, barbiturates. The prison service also tests for LSD, optionally, buprenorphine or something in some areas. The prison service also has the option for testing for other drugs if required. Now, these drug tests, there's a myth going around that prison drug tests, MDT, do not detect spice. That is false. They do. Right. So we're going to go into how you can get away with drug tests. Right. So on the back of this, I'm just going to read this. So, express defences, Rule 52. A copy of the express defence, Rule 52, should in all cases where a prisoner is charged under Rule 51, Section 9, be issued to the prisoner with the F1127. It shall be defence for a prisoner charged with the offence under Section 51, Paragraph 9, to show that the controlled drug has been prior to administration lawfully in his possession for his use, and or was admitted to him in the course of lawful supply of drugs to another. The controlled drug was administered by him or to him in circumstances which he did not know, had no reason to suspect that a drug was being administered, or the controlled drug was administered to him under duress without his consent in circumstances where it is not reasonable to have resisted. Interpretation. In the rules, where the context so admits, the expression controlled drug means any drug which is controlled for the for purposes of Misuse of Drugs Act 1971. So, right. So they give you this form telling you why they give you MDT, right? And then on the back, they give you the reasons to get away with a drug test. So it says there, the controlled drug was administered to him, by him or to him in circumstances where he did not know or had no reason to suspect that a drug was being administered, right? So let's go into that. So someone comes up to you, right? Now, tobacco's banned in prison, but it's still about, everybody knows this. So someone comes up to you with a roll-up and they say, "Yeah, mate, do you want some burn, right? Do you want some of this?" "Oh, yeah, mate, yeah." And then you blaze it, and it turns out to be a weed, cannabis, or it turns out to be a spliff of spice, right? And then you fall into a catatonic state. Weeks down the line, you get drug tested. You can use that defence there. And the wording is, the controlled drug was administered to him in circumstances where he did not know or had no reason to suspect that the drug was being administered. Or the controlled drug was administered to him under duress without his consent in circumstances where it was not reasonable for him to have been resisted. So someone comes in your pad, they say, you better fucking smoke this, you better take this, right? I want to bash you up, right? And then you take the drug, right? Now, I've been in prison and I've seen countless people fail drug tests. Now, when I was a cleaner at Forest Bank, right, H1 was the induction wing at the time. E1 was been induction, G2 has been induction, H1 has been induction, and it's now back to E1. I don't know why they do this so frequently, but they changed the induction wing, right? So when I was on the induction wing, because we was entrusted and we was in a trusted position, right, we came back from getting the food trolleys or something, or we went somewhere, and it wasn't the food trolleys, we'd been somewhere and we come back, and it was like, right, you in there, MDT, right? Now, it's if you're taking drugs, it's the worst, like, fucking hell, here we go. You're in a trusted position. If you test positive, you're going to lose your job, right? You are going to lose your job. So we was waiting in the little glass, like, cage thing, little cubicle thing. They offer you water and stuff if you want to, like, so you can piss. And then one at a time, you go out, you go in. They give you this little plastic thing. They open it in front of you. You go to the toilet. There's a mirror above you. You piss into the thing. They seal it. They write a unique reference number down the side of the thingy, so it comes back to you. Went back to the wing, and Souza, who was a red badge at the time, a Spanish guy, very proactive when it came to drugs, was like, "Have you got any problems? Are you worried about anything?" I was like, "No, man. Clear mind, clear piss. Sweet." Other prisoners were not so happy. So anyway, fast forward. So 3 prisoners tested positive, right? Danny Boy, Degsy, and I think it was someone else. I can't remember the name on top of my head. So they all 3 tested positive. Now, Degsy, or Derek, had been through the system a long time, right? Been in and out for about 11 years, right? So he said his defence was the smoking ban had come the smoking ban had come in, and he just said, look, he said he got an adjudication, so he got a nicking under his door saying you've tested positive for spice, right? And what he did, his defence, he went to his adjudication, which is with the governor, went to his adjudication, or known as a nicking, and he just said, look, he said, he said, even though smoking's banned, he said there was like a few dimps on the floor. I picked them up, I smoked them, and one of them must have had spice in it. And he said, look, and then he went to an outside adjudicator, and the charges were dropped against him. He used the prison's own rules against them. What? Prison give you your excuse. Now, like I said, you could take a nick in for smoking, like for having tobacco or something like that. But like I said, you'd rather get a nick in for possession of contraband than you would for a positive drug test. It tells you guys in layman's terms how to get away with it. So if say that there was another prisoner, and he said that he was threatened to take the drug. He was peer pressured into it. He was threatened, right? He wouldn't give up the names of them prisoners because obviously grassing. There was no situation. He wasn't threatened. He wasn't bullied into it. He just took them. But he said in his defence, look, I can't mention names because of what had happened to me, but someone threatened me to take the drugs. There was no people. He took them willingly and freely, right? There was a kid called Danny. He used to smoke a lot of spice. He was a cleaner. He turned into a thieving scumbag. He tested positive. The screws didn't like it, and they sent him to A1. They stitched him up. A1 is the young offenders wing. Last time I heard, Danny was he was on A1, and he was on OP, own protection, because he was being bullied behind his door. But what I'm saying to you guys is so on the first fucking thing, yeah, the prison say why we do MDT, the repercussions of testing positive, right? Like I said, you can get extra days and stuff, right? On the reverse, they give you the excuse. You can't make it up, guys. This is prison. Prison in a nutshell. You can go to prison for not having a TV license. When you get to prison, you don't need a TV license. You pay £1 a week for your telly. That's either 250p from 2 prisoners sharing a cell, or £1 for a prisoner in a single. Let me know what you think about the video, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.